Hi everyone, this is Wonki. I'm a classical saxophonist based in New York. Today I'm going to show you how to condition and adjust my reeds so that they can last up to a year. Like many, I used to use a lot of reeds. Usually I use 3 boxes a month to find good reeds, and it was costly, it was time consuming, and I was exhausted. So I started to experiment with reed adjustment. After years of trials and errors, at this point, I'm pretty happy and confident with my treatment of the reeds, so I'm ready to share it with you today. Right now, I only use 1 box of reeds per year by conditioning and adjusting them using Reed Geek. So I will share with you my specific ways in 5 steps. And I promise you it's not going to be complicated, it's going to be actually pretty simple. So let's begin. Number 1, open each reed from the box and soak them into water. First, when you open a brand new box of reed, open each one of them and put them into water. Because reeds are completely dried out. It's been dried out for years, so you want to make sure each reed will soak up the same amount of humidity. To condition them, which means we want to make the reed in the same condition so that we can test them and compare them. Don't keep putting the reed into water for more than 5 minutes. Then it's going to soak up all the water and you won't be able to compare. By the way, I'm using the Dario Reserve 3.0 Plus for my alto sax with mouthpiece of S90 180 from Selmer. For soprano, I'm using Van Doren Traditional Blue Box Strength 3 with S90 180 mouthpiece as well. So I do exactly the same for all these reeds from different brands. Number 2, try each one of them and divide them into 3 different groups. Now you have to try each one of them to determine its strength. So play a little bit, meaning read it a little bit, like 10 seconds. Play C major scale, for example, to determine its strength, and divide them into 3 groups of soft, medium, and hard. For the soft reeds, we can't really do anything about them. I tried to adjust the softer reeds by a tool from Van Doren to click the tip so that it brings back the strength, but it was very difficult to adjust the balance, so I don't do that anymore. Instead, I use them for lessons when I don't want my amateur to get tired, or simply just discard it. We will only keep medium strength and harder reeds for the later adjustments. So it's important to select reed strength knowing that you're going to make adjustment. If you make adjustment, reed will become thinner. So let's say my ideal reed strength would be 3. But I know that I'm going to make an adjustment, so I purposely buy 3.0 plus or even 3.5. So it's crucial for you to actually select the reed when you're purchasing one a little bit harder than what you want to play. Step number 3, repeat the process for at least 3 days before adjustment. We will not do anything to the reed just yet. We have to condition these reeds, which means the reed needs to go through the cycle of getting humid and getting dry out completely naturally. I found that repeating these process for at least 3 days will make the reed stable and ready for the adjustment. The Dario actually makes humidity pack, which keeps the humidity of the reed case consistent. And I used to use them, but with my method of putting reeds into water, once you bring back the reed into the reed case, because of humidity pack, it keeps the moisture within the reed case, and instantly next day you get the molded and all the reed will be unusable. I made this mistake for the countless times, so I don't use them anymore. But actually what I found out was by not using them and making my reeds completely dry out, it kept my reed fresher. Because of that, I think I can keep the reed and use them for a longer time, which is 6 months to 12 months. And it doesn't really matter if the reeds are dry out because I'm going to put them into water anyway for the next day. Step number 4, test reeds by playing each side of the reed to determine which side is harder. Now, after a few days of conditioning, now it's time for the adjustment. Now, before getting to the adjustment, we need to test the reed to determine which side is harder. So we have to test each side playing like this. You will quickly notice that one side is harder than the other, and we're going to shape off the harder side of the reed. Step number 5. Shape off the harder side of the reed using Reed Geek. For adjustment, I only use this tool, which is Reed Geek. I used to use sandpaper, reed knife, and Van Doren products, but Reed Geek does it all. So if you don't have one, please get one. You won't regret it. I have an Amazon link in the description. Now take a look at the reed. Our goal is to make both sides of the reeds to feel exactly at the same strength. Unfortunately, you can't really tell which side is harder or weaker just by looking at it. So you always have to test the reed using the step number 4. For 90% of the time, I will only work on these 2 areas, and that's enough for me. I don't recommend adjusting anywhere else since they don't really make a big difference. Also, don't touch the heart of the reed, which is the center, because it will destroy overall balance and resonance of the reed. So you want to shape off this side of the reed gently for a few times, like this. And then you want to test them. Sometimes after adjusting both sides, the reed still feels harder if both sides play the same, and I will work on the heel of the reed using the flat side of the Reed Geek, like this. Just a few times, gently shave off the end of heel, then the reed will feel much lighter to play while maintaining the overall balance. Make sure to do this a little by little because once you shape off too much, it's game over. Make sure to do this little by little because once you shape it too much, it's game over. You can't really get it back to strength. If you are happy with the reed, that's it. Put back into the reed case and completely dry out. Now it's ready to play for 6 to 12 months. Usually I can make 4 to 6 good reeds out of one box, and I rotate them as often as possible. Try not to play each reed more than 30 minutes, unless of course you're playing a concert. So that's it. It's pretty simple, isn't it? I hope this is helpful for you. Please let me know if it works or not, and if you have any questions, please ask me. I'm always happy to connect with you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.